Good morning, class.
Good morning.
How are you on this wonderful Tuesday morning?
Good.
That's great. You're good and you're grand. Are you awesome and are you amazing and are you lovely as well?
Yeah. Bad. Yeah.
Bad? Why are you bad, Hayden?
I don't want to do that.
Okay. Well, we can talk about Ecuador instead. And you know what we can start with today, Hayden? We can start with your favorite part. Do you know what your favorite part is?
Mm-hmm.
The animals? We can start with the coolest part of Ecuador, which is right here on the map in the northwest part of South America. And it's not just on the land. They have this huge chain of islands out here called the Galapagos Islands. Have you heard about the Galapagos Islands?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Perhaps from Mimi and Pops, perhaps from me, perhaps from other books, because they have the coolest animals in the world. And it's one of the most beautiful places in the world. And here are some images of the Galapagos Islands. They are gorgeous, and there's sand, and there's animals, and the animals aren't afraid of people. So the people hang out with the animals. Look at this. This person's hanging out with a seal on the beach. Just hanging out, having a good time. What do you think they're talking about?
What is that one next to a picture on the third world? Last one on the third world.
Something under the water.
The bird. It's a bird hanging out next to a seal. They're all friendly. All the animals are super friendly in the Galapagos. They aren't very afraid of each other or humans.
What about the third one on the second row?
This one, more sea lions.
Wow, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, there's so many sea lions.
There's total.
Yeah, let's look at here's more of the sea lions, and they are loud. Well, they are super loud. Look at this one. He's yawning or screaming or something. And sometimes they hang out in huge groups where there will be like 50 of them all together laying on the beach, like a giant snuggle party. And they're all talking. They're like, "Ma!" They sound like cows and they yell really, really loud. They are not quiet.
We saw that in a movie yesterday.
Did you?
Actually.
What movie?
It's on Disney Plus. It's like an animal nature thing, and we learned about penguins, and this penguin named Steve accidentally wandered into an elephant seal pack.
Wow. Yeah, the elephant seals are big. And what happened when the penguin went into the elephant seal pack?
It just wandered out. Yeah, and one of them. It was thinking like, uh-oh. And one of them. No. It was like, no. And then he just got out. And one of them wanted a mate. And it was
they
chasing.
Wanted a mate. Interesting.
Yeah.
Did the penguin look anything like this?
Blue-footed boobies.
Was the penguin like, I'm in a field of elephant seals? Or was it like, ha 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 ha, I'm in a field of elephant seals? Or was it like, run away, I need to swim away quickly?
Well, he was like, run away, but he wasn't swimming. And that wasn't that kind of penguin.
It was a different penguin. Well, this is the Galapagos penguin.
Booby.
Yeah, we can go back and take a look at the blue-footed boobies. That's another one of the animals they have. And they have really funny faces and even funnier feet.
I have a stuffed animal of one.
Do you? That is so fun. Is it cozy?
Yeah. Can I get it?
Yeah, I don't think these ones like to snuggle. They'll run away if you try and snuggle them. But stuffed animals are good for snuggling. Look, these ones even have a blue face. They're like, photo time. So one of the things I really like.
They're ginormous turtles.
Enormous turtles. Yeah, they have enormous turtles. And sometimes they hang out in the street. Look at this one, crossing the road. It's massive, too. Look how big it is. Look at this. It's like the size of a car. It's not quite that big. This is the perspective. But they will sit. They are bigger than me. They are actually bigger than me. That's how big some of these turtles are. And sometimes they're in the water, and sometimes they are in the street. And so you go for a walk, and then all of a sudden, there's a turtle trying to cross the road. Here's a good one. They couldn't even cross the road because the turtle was in the way. And they like to eat a lot. That's how they get so big. Look at this one eating grass. They eat so much grass. Do you ever eat grass?
Well, I actually have before, but only one teeny tiny piece.
Oh, how was that for you?
He's so cute.
He is pretty cute. I don't recommend eating grass. It's not very tasty.
I've eaten paper before. Paper.
You eat paper? You know who else eats paper? Iguanas. These are some of the marine iguanas, and sometimes they like to really hang out with their buddies. Like, look at these iguanas. They're like, we're the best friends in the world.
Wow.
And sometimes they hang out in huge groups. Look at this. There's like 8 of them on the same rock. They're like, this is such a good rock. I mean, there's a lot of good rocks, but this one is the best rock. So we're all going to hang out on this rock. They were quite funny. And sometimes you would see like hundreds of them together. Let's see. If I search hundreds, let's see if we find any. Wow, look at this. Look how many there are.
We totally have the camera. We do okay. But if you want to be on camera.
On the same rock. On the same rock.
One big rock. There's so many of them. It was crazy. And they swim too. Have you ever seen an iguana swim?
No.
These ones can swim. They don't just walk around. They actually go underwater and swim. They've got like webbed feet, kind of like a turtle or like a fish. And so they'll hang it on the rock and get the sun and get their tan. And then they'll jump in the water and be like, all right, I'm ready for a little swim, cool off for a bit. They're quite cute. And sometimes they hang out on the beach too. They'll just like be chilling on the beach. So you'll go up and you'll walk right up next to them.
Can you show us a picture of a baby one? A baby?
Yeah, sure. Let's see, baby marine iguanas. Oh, they're just really little. Look at this one sitting on top of his head.
Oh, it's so tiny. It's
He's
so
a little
cute.
baby. Ah, look at this one. He's like, look at me, I'm smiling.
He's so cute.
That's the happiest iguana I've ever seen. And look at the parent iguana. The adult's just like, I love this hug from my baby. Even iguanas have feelings, it turns out.
Wait, look at the last one on the first row.
Last one on the first row. This one right here. Yep, he's just taking a ride. The big one's strutting around. He's like, Papa Iguana. And the little one's like, I'm with Papa Iguana. Check me out. I'm getting a piggyback ride. This one's just looking for the better view. He's like, I'm really small. Can I get on your head so I can see what's happening? What's happening? I'm in this field of iguanas. All right, here's some of the blue-footed boobies. This one is very curious what a camera is. He's like, what are you? Hello?
You're not again.
And look at all these ones. They're just like the iguanas. I'm telling you, the animals in the Galapagos Islands just like to hang out. They're just there for a good time. They're like, you know, all this conflict, all this bickering, I'm not about it. I'm about love. And I'm just going to hang out with my other blue-footed boobies, and we're all about love.
Yeah.
Penguin and sharks, they have sharks too. The sharks aren't quite as loving. They like to eat, and they like to eat a lot of fish.
They like to eat humans.
Children? They like to eat children's fish. They eat all kinds of fish, and there's a lot of fish.
Wait,
yeah, all kinds.
Do they eat humans if they can get them?
They generally wouldn't eat a human. They're going to eat little things, right? So, like, we're the same size as sharks, right? So, generally, we don't eat sharks, and they don't eat us. We eat smaller things, and they eat smaller things. And it's easier for them. Like, there aren't a lot of humans hanging out underwater. So, the sharks, it's not easy for them to get humans, even if they wanted to. But also, we don't taste very good. Have you ever tried to eat your arm? Doesn't taste very good, does it?
Mommy's trying to eat my eel.
Oh, is that right? Was she successful?
Nope, but it actually did hurt a lot. And she literally bit him.
Wow.
She didn't mean to, but she actually bit her ear. She actually bit it.
That's very aggressive. She was probably super hungry and mistook you for a banana. She loves bananas, you know.
Nope.
You're perfecting that eye roll, Quinn. I'm very impressed. They also have animals in their cities. So this isn't on the Galapagos Islands anymore. This is actually the city of Guayaquil. And here's a photo. I went to this city, and they have one park called Iguana Park. And here are the most beautiful iguanas that I've ever seen. They have these really, really pretty tails.
Whoa, look!
These ones climbing on each other?
No, the second one on the second row.
Oh, all of them hanging out on the rock. Yeah, someone probably put some food there, or maybe it's in the sun and they were trying to get the sun. Oftentimes animals like to lay down on rock because the rock, it's warmer. Like when the sun comes down on the grass still might be a little wet or it might be a little cold, but the rocks get really hot. And so the iguanas that want the sun hang out on the rocks. It's like, have you ever gone out on the asphalt, like on the street or on the road, and you notice it's hotter than being on the grass?
You remember that from the summer?
In the summer?
No.
Like
Yeah.
your feet get really hot. Yeah, and then you jump onto the grass so your feet aren't as hot. Well, that's what's happening for the iguanas, except they like the heat. And the whole country is beautiful. In fact, it has more biodiversity, meaning more animals and plants and species than any other country in the world. It's right up amongst the top. So there's a lot of them all in South America that we've talked about, but Ecuador is supposedly the most. And one of the towns is called Baños. And it's this cute little town tucked in a valley. A lot of the cities and towns are like this, where it's right in the middle of the mountains. And if you go up on the side of the mountains here, there's a few interesting
Look. Those people are like swinging off of mountains.
Yeah, I'm going to show you that too. But they have like hot tubs and pools that overlook the town. So I got to go into this pool at a hotel, and it's over top the town. You see how the mountain's across the side? So this is on one side, and then you get to look down on the town from there.
Wow.
And they have this crazy swing, which is what I know you're looking at. And it swings all the way out over the side of the cliff. And I got to go on that too. They strap you into the swing so you can't fall out, and then they swing you all the way over top the edge, right like that. Is that crazy or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to fall off that swing. It's a very adult swing. Although kids were going on it too. They just strap you in so you can't fall. If you were to fall, you'd still be attached to it, so you can't fall off. They also have what's called cloud forests. Have you ever heard of a cloud forest?
I think so. Hey, who is
I have.
Who's getting who's it's covering our picture. Second row, first one.
The first one in the second row. This one? This is what you were looking for?
Uh-huh. Why is the grass so tall?
Oh, it's just the angle of the photo. So if you take a photo from right here up high, the grass will look really, really small. But if you take the photo from down where the grass is, it'll look really, really big. And sometimes there is just really big grass. So it's a combination. But one of the things
we have onion grass.
Forest, you have what kind of grass?
Onion grass.
Onion grass. Does that mean you eat it?
No,
with
it smells
your tacos?
No, it smells like onions and it's really tall. It's like this tall.
Wow. Onion grass. We can look that up later. I'll take that as a homework lesson to learn what onion grass is. But the cloud forest, one of the things that's really cool is, you know how trees and plants get big? How do they get big?
Sun.
Sun, yep. And what else?
Water.
Exactly,
water.
Sun and water.
And air.
And so in the cloud forest, yep, in the cloud forest, they don't only drink water from rain in the ground, they actually drink water from clouds. And so
it's because clouds are
water.
water.
Exactly. But usually most plants have to wait for the cloud to become water and drop down. These trees up in the cloud forest, they're just taking moisture out of the clouds. They're so thirsty all the time, and that's why it's so green. It's super cool. And you can even zip line. You can get on a rope and swing through the canopies like this. So you're going all the way across over top.
Wait, are you like strapped into something when you zip line?
You are strapped into something. Here's a photo. I don't know if you can see, but there's a wire and it attaches to your waist. And so they wrap you all up so you can't fall out. And then they throw you across and you go pretty fast. And it's kind of fun.
That's a person holding a person.
Yeah, there's two people on the same zip line. And this
The
one,
person holding the person upside down.
Mimi Pops and I went in one of these because they actually came to visit me in Ecuador. So they got to go down to the Galapagos, and then we went to Mindo, which is the cloud forest, and we got in one of these. It's a little small, hard to see, but a little sort of cart, and got shimmied across. They also have tons of hummingbirds.
Hummingbirds!
You must have been happy, right? They're really pretty. They're really famous. And look at the colors on these hummingbirds. That is just gorgeous. That is just
Well, it's a rainbow one. So pretty. It's a rainbow one.
It is. Yeah, there's a couple that have really pretty colors. And what is it that hummingbirds do that it's really unique?
They fly backwards.
They can fly backwards. And do you know why they're able to do that?
Why?
It's because their wings are so strong. Their wings are set up differently. Look how fast the wings are here. They're so fast that you can't even get a picture of it. It's all blurry on this one. And so that's where they go so fast that they have so much control of their body that they can basically hover in one spot, or they can inch forward, they can inch backwards, side to side. Most birds can't do that. They flap and they go around and they're kind of clumsy and they're like, I am a bird, I'm going to eat this bread because I am a seagull and I'm on the beach. But hummingbirds, they're like, nah, I'm just chilling here because I've got these super powerful little wings and I can go backwards, check me out, and I'm beautiful. Y'all other birds are jealous. I love when birds are chatting. Anyways, they also have butterflies, very pretty butterflies. Lots and lots of butterflies. Super colorful and pretty. Here's some of the kids in Ecuador. So it's in the middle of the world. Ecuador is named Ecuador because it's at the equator, right in the middle. So it's quite hot. So a lot of the people who live there, they have more complexion in their skin than you do or I do. And they also, like a lot of other South American cultures, are very colorful. They like to dance. They like to have fun. They're very friendly.
There's an alpaca on the very first one.
Yeah, good eye. So similar to Peru, in the mountains of Ecuador, they have alpaca and llama, and they can produce a lot of the same types of materials that you'll find in Peru.
Well, their clothes are fancy.
Here's people in the middle of the equator. So Mimi, Pops, and I went here, and this is where you can stand on both sides. You're in the northern hemisphere, and you're in the southern hemisphere. So you can straddle it, and you can be right on the equator. Is that wild? Or is that boring?
Yeah. Wait, did they just put a line there on purpose? So you could do that?
Yeah, they put a line there to mark it. In fact, there's something where you can, have you heard of longitude and latitude?
I think, yeah.
It's kind of a weird concept, but basically people have put across the whole world numbers of every possible location to determine where you are. And latitude and longitude is where it sort of goes vertical and horizontal on the world. And so the equator right here is 0, 0, 0. It's sort of the perfect middle point.
Can I tell you a short, funny story that happened last night?
Please do. Is it relevant to Ecuador?
Well, it actually is relevant to this.
Great.
So last night when Daddy was taking me back to my bedroom, Daddy saw a shadow, so he opened the blind and he saw a car, but he didn't see anybody. So he went to the door and he was looking at as soon as he looked at the car, there was a knock on the door and we went to go over and a person from our church, she told us that, she told me that, that she watched Around the World with Uncle Drew, France.
Wow, that's so cool. That's so fun.
And she really liked it.
Cool. That's exciting. And did they tell you anything about the two of you? Did they see you in the episode as well?
Well, they probably. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. Super cool. Thank you for sharing. All right. So Anything else that you want to learn about Ecuador? Are you curious to hear about volcanoes maybe?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Well, they have a lot of volcanoes. They actually have almost more volcanoes than any other country in the world. Tons of volcanoes. And remember when we talked about Guatemala and there was that volcano that turned into a giant lake?
Yeah.
Well, they have one of those too. It's called Quilotoa. And I got to go there with my friend Daniel when he was visiting, and it is really cool. The water is like an emerald green. Look at this thing with the reflection. So neat.
So pretty.
That's so pretty.
And they even have volcanoes right next to their cities sometimes. So this is the city of Quito, and they have a big volcano right next to the city. And so one time, several times, it's exploded. And when it explodes, it spews out all this ash, right? Just like this, what you see here. And one time in the past 100 years, it shot so much ash that it was like snow. And it covered the whole city in ash, just like as if it had snowed 8 inches. So have you ever seen a fireplace where it gets all ashy at the end and people have to clean it up?
Yeah.
Imagine if that covered the entire neighborhood instead of snow. It didn't just melt away. They had to go and clean it all up. Not a good situation. But that's what happens there. And it's actually so high up in the air. It's one of the highest elevation cities in the world. And you can go up to the top of the volcano in a cable car like this. So you can go all the way from the city all the way up to the top of the volcano.
You can. What was that city that got covered in ash called?
It's called Quito. So here's a photo of Quito from up above. It's tucked into a valley and it's really, really long. So most cities, they kind of exist in a square like this, right? One little spot. But Quito, it's really skinny and really, really, really long. So it's unique like that. And look at this airport right in the middle of the city. That's where the planes land, right there in the middle.
I don't know if this is actually in Ecuador, but I think the same thing happened to a city called Pompeii. Pompeii.
Yeah. And here's one of the famous cathedrals in Ecuador. It is really quite cool.
It's beautiful.
You can go inside it. Yeah, it's beautiful. You can go inside and walk around. Here's what it looks like on the inside, or at least part of it. And as I was saying, so Quito, Ecuador, the capital of Ecuador, is one of the highest elevation capital cities in the world. So it's like being on top of a mountain. Like if you think of the tallest mountain in Pennsylvania, this city is twice as high up. So if you went all the way up to the top of the mountain, then went all the way up to the top of another mountain, and then put a giant city there, that's how high up Quito is. Just like some of the other cities. So Bogota in Colombia, we talked about that one. It's also really, really high elevation. And one of the cities that we'll talk about in Bolivia is as well.
And Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico City is super high up too. That's right.
Where is the U.S.?
The U.S., this is just specific cities. The U.S.'s tallest city is probably Denver, which would be further. I don't even see them on here. Yeah, I don't know. They don't have many super tall cities, but Denver is the tallest one. This is because my list is just for capital cities, not all cities. But Denver would be, they're about 4,000 feet tall. So they would be down here around where Namibia and Uganda and Costa Rica are for these couple cities.
Have we learned about South Africa?
We haven't learned about South Africa yet. I've actually not been to South Africa yet, but maybe we'll have a lesson on it someday. And here's a photo of Cuenca. It's another city in Ecuador that actually a lot of people from the US live in. They like to move there when they retire. So when they stop working and they say, I'm going to spend the rest of my life just reading books and enjoying walks and spending time with, people that I enjoy and going to coffee shops and drinking coffee. A lot of times they'll move down there because it's actually very cheap to live there. And it's a very good quality of life. People are healthy, people are friendly. And so they'll move there instead of the US.
I forget. They don't. How cheap is it to buy a house?
Ooh, good question. I don't know. Let's see. Cost of house. Cuenca, Ecuador. It probably depends because you can buy like a cheap house or you can buy an expensive house. But this is saying $350, $350 to rent an entire house for a month. That's pretty cheap. That is, yeah. So it's really cheap. It can be like the cost of living in Cuenca compared to the U.S. might be like 1/3. So you could have like if the cost was the
What
same in
about
the
like
U.S., you could have
living
like
there?
3 houses. Yeah, living there is cheap too. Food is really cheap. Everything's really cheap. That's why people go. In fact, you can even retire early. Instead of waiting until you're 60 or 65 years old to retire, people can say, hey, I'm going to retire at 50 or 55 because I don't have to spend as much per year. It is a fairly large country, a good medium size. So it's smaller than Peru, but it's bigger than Haiti and bigger than Guatemala. Actually, it's about the same as Guatemala.
But it's barely bigger than Guatemala.
Yeah, barely bigger. Who knows? It seems about the same. They actually use the U.S. dollar. So similar to Panama, they use the U.S. dollar. And some of these photos are old photos, but yeah, they use our currency down there.
You'd stay on your side.
And guess what sport they like, Hayden?
Soccer.
Obviously, they love soccer. And the way that they fuel themselves to play soccer is they eat all kinds of delicious, yummy foods. So it's similar to a lot of the other South American countries, what their cuisine is. You'll see the guinea pig. Uh-oh, eating guinea pig again, just like Peru. It's like their Thanksgiving, like we said before.
Cute.
And yeah, a lot of basic foods. And then they have this one soup called locro, which is potato and avocado and cheese. And it's actually quite yummy.
Sounds tasty.
Quite yummy. Look at this one with the full avocado sitting in it. I want it. And they make more bananas than any other country in the world. They make so many bananas. And guess who likes to eat bananas?
Mommy.
And
No.
monkeys. Monkeys love bananas. Look at this monkey. Monkey's like, I'm having 3 bananas. He's just like my friend in St. Lucia. Oh man, this one's wishing he had a banana. He's like, oh, I wish I had a banana. This one's eating a banana just like a human. In fact, actually, did you know that so monkeys don't have a knife. They don't like cut open the banana and peel it like a lot of people do. They just pinch the end of it. So if you take it from the bottom and you pinch it, you can open it up in 2 little pieces, just like that. So see how this one has just two folds? You just open it right up. That's what happens if you pinch it. You guys can experiment with that, or maybe your mom can show you how. And here's a dude in a banana onesie because banana onesies are cool. What do you think? Would you guys ever go to school dressed like this?
No.
Maybe next Halloween you could be a banana?
What if I showed up for Christmas dressed like a banana? Would you pretend like you didn't know me, or would you still accept me and give me a hug?
Yeah.
You'd accept me?
Yeah. But you might be a little bit slimy.
A little bit slimy? Interesting. Just don't peel me. Or try and eat me. I promise I don't taste like a banana. Cool. So that's our lesson on Ecuador. What do you guys think?
No.
What do you guys think?
Ow. Good. Ow. Good.
What was your favorite part? I have an idea. It was the animals, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The sea lions, maybe the blue-footed boobies, maybe the turtle eating grass.
The ginormous turtle. Beware.
Ginormous turtle eating grass. What about the sea lions? I can't tell you enough. They really like to yell. They all at the same time. It's like they're trying to sing, but no one ever taught them to sing, and they're all singing different songs at the same time. And it's really bad. It's I'm just glad that they don't have instruments. That would be the worst. Okay,
It's like
you guys
that, but
actually sound like
sounds
the sea lions right now.
What about that
Did you
really
like-
happy one?
There was
The really
the
happy
baby.
baby.
Oh, the really happy little iguana. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Get it. Get it. No.
It wasn't there. I didn't know where it was. We had a curious blue-footed booby, the penguin, all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, Rocky.
You're sitting on me. Yes, I am. Stop. Not now.
All right,
Anything
please
else
move
you guys
it.
are curious to learn about, whether it's about Ecuador? Any questions? You get one question. You can ask me anything in the world. What do you want to ask me?
One question. What do you want to ask?
What is your favorite food?
My favorite food. That's a hard question because I don't usually pick favorites. But for your question, I will choose chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream.
Yeah, I
You
agree
approve?
with you.
Oh, it's so good. It's
My
so good.
question is, if you had a pet dog, what would you name it?
If I had a pet dog, what would I name it?
Dude, stop.
Can I ask what kind of pet dog I would have? Is it a little dog? Is it a big dog?
Saint Bernard. Saint Bernard.
Saint Bernard. So it's a big one.
No, a tiny fluffy one.
A tiny fluffy one. So if I had a tiny fluffy one, I would probably name the tiny fluffy one.
Fluffy? Fluffy? No.
Fluffy would be a good one. I would name the tiny fluffy one Tiger, and I would paint it orange so it would have white and orange stripes. And then the big Saint Bernard, I would name it Fluffy, for sure. Fluffy.
What?
Yeah, I would name the big one Fluffy because it's weird and different. Big ones aren't fluffy, little ones are fluffy. So I would name the big one Fluffy, and everyone would be like, "Oh, you have a dog named Fluffy? That's so cute. Can I see it?" And you bring in this massive dog, and you're like, "This is Fluffy."
All right.
I'm gonna go do my blue for the booby.
Well,
Aiden, are you
that was fun. I enjoyed that.